Well, it's time to do an oil pan gasket on the Civic. I may have other leaks as well, but I'm certain that I'm getting some seepage around here, and I'm definitely getting seepage on the other side. So, see the little drips? I'm going to have to remove the headers. That means I'm going to have to take them apart there and up there. Hope I can get it off, because getting it in, I remember it being a bit challenging. And the oil pan is at least at part responsible for this. So it's been draining for about 2 days. So I'm gonna put the plug back in and just be hand tight. Now let's get that header off. So I'm just gonna wipe it off a little bit, because I get in trouble. I don't really get in trouble. My wife's always picking on me, how do you get so dirty? So I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'm gonna try and be a little cleaner. And the stock header is still intact, so I might switch to a stock header. This was just the one on the full donor car. Thought it was cool, so I used it. But anyway, while it's off, I'll make that decision. But anyway, we're gonna get to separating this. And right above the header, coming off of the top, is the oxygen sensor. Let's see if I can disconnect it. See if I can do it with one hand. Not quite. There we go. Disconnected now. Now I'm gonna remove all these nuts with the 12mm. They haven't even been on that long, and they want to give me trouble. Okay, let's hope the other ones don't do that. I'm just gonna move this because it is in the way. Ooh, that one was loose. Well, loose-ish. All right, they're all off. Now my goal is to see if there's enough room to pull this out and drop it down. There wasn't when I was installing it. Oh shoot, I still gotta take this one off. I still got one more nut. Now let's see if there's enough room. Ooh, would it be tight? It seems like I should be able to, but like, it just is not gonna happen. Twist it this way. Seems like if I could get it past this, I would be home free, because there's no getting it past this. Oh, I think I did it. I think I did it. Ha! It is possible. This fan shroud has some flex, so now I can just sit it down on the ground. Look who decided to show up. This is Lance.
Hey guys.
Yeah, so now that I got the header out, I can remove the oil pan. You want to get dirty, Lance?
Sure.
Hopefully we won't get that dirty. This cover covers up the flywheel. To get it off, we need to take off this bracket. So this is a, Lance said it was a 17.
Yeah.
And let me see that little impact.
Yes.
And these I can move with a 12mm. Nice. They should have been the same torque.
Start smoking?
Huh?
Did this start smoking?
No, just leaking a lot.
No, like the drill.
Oh, I don't know. Did it?
Yeah, I think so. It started smoking, or it smelled like it was smoking.
Oh, well, I definitely gave it all it had. All right, now give it back to me, since everything's loose. Yeah, these aren't that strong. They make a lot of racket. They're not that strong. You're almost up, Lance. Ew, brother, ew. I tell you, one of the best investments I ever made was these.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much they'd speed things up. All right, now I can remove these. I believe that's another 17, 10, and I'm guessing a 12 and a 12. Start with the big boy. So there we go. Thank you, Lance.
Yep.
And that reveals the flywheel. Remember we put the flywheel on this transmission?
Did we?
Yeah, this is the transmission. Oh, hey babe.
Hey.
So Lance, you can get under here. I'll get out of your way. So try not to lay right up under it. Just take them all out.
There's one.
Yep. Just pull it like part way. Yeah, it won't go as fast.
Is this gonna drop or?
It will eventually.
Great.
So get to the last one and then stop.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, you don't want to be right under it.
There's more on this side, right?
Oh yeah, you gotta go all the way around to where you started.
Oh, it's caked in it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's a lot. That's why we're changing it. Ideally, they should all still be dry.
Bunch of them.
Yep, it is a bunch of them. So you do those. I'll get the last one because I'd rather me get dirty than you walk home all disgusting. Your dad be like, "What were y'all doing over there?"
No, he'll probably be like, "Oh, so you helped him out." This one.
That's the last one?
I think it is, yeah. This one up here.
All right, let me get under there and see what we can do. Now, it's probably not going to fall down. But what we'll have to do is pry it off. Uh-oh. Maybe not. It might fall right off. All right, let's see. Oh, man. No wonder it was leaking. Huh?
You got all of them off, right?
I think so. Got one more to get off. And now it really might fall because I know it's already loose. Oh, it's already loose.
Yep, there it goes.
All right, watch this.
You just gotta drop it.
I'm not gonna drop it. I'm just gonna lower it slowly because there's probably still oil in it.
Yep, you can hear it.
All right, and you can see where it was leaking. You can see around the gasket where it was leaking because there should be a little bit of oil on the inside, but not on the outside of the gasket. Yeah, this thing was a bad install, but these gaskets generally have issues. I mean, it was over tightened. I'm gonna wipe it down, let it drip, and this is as far as I wanted to get tonight because I knew this was gonna be messy. Yeah, this seemed like it was like recently installed. Cause this is not an OEM gasket and it looks pretty fresh. I say recently, but you know, sort of recently. Cause this engine did show signs of somebody caring about it when I bought it. If you look under here, this is the oil pickup. If your oil gets below this level,
Yeah.
then it really can't lubricate the engine.
Okay.
So the oil pump pumps from here. Yeah, this is where the oil gets picked up. And this goes to the oil pump. This line here.
Okay, and then the oil comes in from where? Like from up here, of course, but then where does it come down from? Like when you put new oil in, where does it come into the oil pan?
Oh, I'll show you when it's other engine that's torn apart.
Okay.
So I may get a new oil pan because this one definitely was over tightened. And how can I tell? These little knobs are intended to touch the bottom of the block and limit the amount of displacement that squeezes the gasket. Well, they probably had a leaking gasket and wanted to tighten it more. So now they over tightened it and created a little crown. Right here is bowed up. I mean, there's various spots around it where that is the case too. It's happening there as well. And that could cause inconsistent compression around the gasket and definitely will cause a leak. So rather than trying to fix this, I may just be ordering another oil pan. So it's many days later and I finally got my new oil pan. It feels to be solid and it looks to be right and it looks flat, or at least flat enough. And of course I got a new oil pan gasket, and this style gasket is different than the traditional B series oil pan gasket. I don't know when they came out, but I believe they're an improvement. The old style gaskets relied on proper torquing and the properties of the gasket to maintain a seal. The new ones have metal along the inside, the outside, and little eyelets where the bolts go to act as spacers so that you can't over torque or over squish the gasket. I really like this design and I see why they did it. They basically reinforced all the areas that caused issues. It also comes with some gray RTV, which is nice. I'm gonna put that on the edges and it should fit right over it. Yes, that looks like a fantastic fit. I am pretty excited about this. So it's many days later, and while I think it's done dripping, I have a lot to clean up. So I'm gonna wipe this up, then I'm gonna get to prepping the surface and putting the new oil pan and gasket on. So I'm just gonna wipe off any excess drips. I'm gonna take a blade to it and see if there's anything, you know, caked on the surface. But it doesn't look like there really is at all. There's supposed to be a little bit of RTV right here, and there is. So I'm just scraping it off lightly. Yeah, it's coming off nicely. Yeah, so that's where I will apply RTV on the new one as well. But I'm gonna give this gasket every opportunity to make a good seal. Yeah, so some RTV will get put there as well. Let's see if some of these stains scrape off. Yeah, they do scrape off. Oh yeah, a rag with brake parts cleaner does wonders. This little stain over here coming right off. That's the way to do it. All right, now is that perfectly clean? Nope. But is it a lot cleaner than before? Absolutely. So this is the old oil pan, and those are all the little nuts and bolts. Those are all the nuts and bolts to attach the oil pan to the bottom of the block. Dadgummit. Well, that's empty. This one should not be empty. So I'm just cleaning off the threads on these. Thinking about putting some Loctite on because these B-series oil pans have a tendency to leak, and these have a tendency to back out. I'm gonna make sure the threads are pretty clean, give it every chance to fasten securely. Now I probably could have done the opposite of this on the little bolts, but this is a thread chaser, and it differs from a tap in that it won't cut threads, it just cleans them. It differs from just a regular bolt in that it has channels to catch stuff in. I'm just going through these because on a couple of these, see like right there, some grime or something, some grit that has worked its way into there. So I'm just gonna do this until this goes in and out smooth, spray it, and call it good. There we go, nice and clean all the way. Spray it one more again, just to wash it out. And I'm just gonna do that with all of them. Overkill maybe, but I definitely want to give this gasket every chance to seal. And while I'm at it, even though this is a bit tedious, I'll do the same thing with the threads on the block. Just make sure they're clean. And yes, some of these are pretty dirty, which I'm glad I'm doing it. The things you can do when you have time to do a job the right way. I'm about to prep the gasket. It came with these handy dandy holder things. I don't see what they call them officially, but I like them. They allow you to screw these in. You can push the pan up against it and it'll hold it in place while you do the rest of the fasteners. This is a great idea. I wonder how long it's been around, but this is my first time encountering it. This would have been great to have on the E36 I just did. The manual I have says put a lip of RTV around the inner edge of the gasket surfaces. So I'm gonna do it on this side and on the other side. And this was included with the gasket, so I'm gonna use this, but I do have another type of gasket maker as backup if this is not enough. And I'm gonna put it on another area on the bottom side of the engine block. So let's see if this ends up being enough. And that is not going to be enough. So on the top side, I'm going to use a different material. But now I gotta figure out which way this goes on. Aha, it goes like this. Top side, I'm using this ultra black gasket maker, and I know I have enough of it. So I don't have a GT86 fiasco. I'm just making sure any of the ones that have already squeezed out to the inside, I just clean it off, especially if there's any globs that look like it could fall off, but there isn't any. Just a cautionary tale from Subaru and Toyota on that one. I also put some RTV where the oil pump meets the block and where the plate where the rear main seal lives meets the block as well. All right, let's see how well these things work. All right, still hard to line it up. All right, so basically I'm getting right up under one of them so I can see exactly where the hole is. So that's one, that's two, that's three, and that's four. All right, so now I pushed it up and it would hold it if I were to let it sag, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead, since the gasket maker RTV is on there. Hand tighten that one, caddy corner, hand tighten this one, and then this one as well. New oil pan, new gasket in place. So now I'm just gonna hand tighten all the nuts and bolts. Actually, I'm gonna hand tighten all the nuts, and then I'll come back and start to put the bolts in and take these out. And as it turns out, they did help. If you've ever positioned one of these things without those, you know, especially if you have gasket maker on it, you know it can be a bit of a nerve-wracking task, but that was not bad at all. If you listen closely, you can hear my friend's Corvette driving by. I don't know if you detected the whine, but it has a Pro Charger on it. That thing is sick. I think it runs in the tens. So the nuts are all hand tightened on. Now time for all the bolts. I'm doing all the ones I can before I remove the holders. Am I gonna need a screwdriver to get these out? I think I am. I'm about to say, you better come out. This is the only time these things have been a pain, getting them out with this screwdriver. The instructions say to start in the middle and work your way out in a spiral pattern. So I'm just gonna make sure they all are touching. And then it's time to go into torquing. Putting the final touches on my oil pan, babe. And then it has to sit for 24 hours. Yeah. So I got my torque wrench set to 104 inch-pounds. So now I'm gonna start in the middle and work out the way the instructions said. Actually, let me do it in steps. Yeah, so I'm gonna do 50 first. All right, now this is the final step, and I'm gonna try and remember where I am as I crisscross around the oil pan. So I'm gonna start here on the nuts, go nut to nut, and then start crossing back and forth. So it'll be nut, nut, bolt, 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 nut, bolt, 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 or something like that. Now I think I did them all, but just to be doubly sure, I'm gonna go around and check them all again. All right, now I am convinced that I have properly torqued down all the nuts and bolts holding the oil pan on. So what's next? This cover needs to go back on. All right, since all this is set up, I'm leaning towards going with the OEM header. While it is ugly and heavy and not as free-flowing as the other one, it will fit better and be easy to deal with. At some point, I'll put on a nice new header if I decide to keep this B series, but the OEM one fits the way it should, so I'm gonna use it. On second thought, that depends on if I can get this O2 sensor out. I didn't think about that. Welp, you saw what happened. In the interest of getting it back on tonight, I'll use this. Do not feel like driving out to get another O2 sensor. And taking the header off, now that I know I can get this one off without too much trouble, is not that big a deal. I guess I'll throw this one back on. And with that, the oil pan and gasket are done. If I have any issues with the install, I will let you know on this channel. And if you would like to follow along as I continue to improve my 95 Civic, hit subscribe. And if you would like to see the other things I've already done to my Civic, check out my playlist. Thanks for watching. Take care.